Lamine Yamal is exactly what Mozart warned us about 250 years ago. Ridiculous comparison, I know, but just hear me out. Euro 2024 semifinals. Spain is trailing France. By all logic, the pressure should be eating him alive. He is only 16. A literal kid facing down the toughest defenders in global football, under the brightest lights imaginable. Every rule in modern soccer about age, mental burnout, and experience screams that a player this young should vanish right now. Instead, Lamine Yamal demands the ball. He takes it near the box, peeks up for a split second, and curls an absolute rocket into the top corner from 25 yards. Maignan stays frozen. The stadium absolutely erupts. Commentators are screaming in total disbelief, shouting about an unbelievable goal from the 16-year-old Barcelona Wonderkid. And for a split second, the soccer world felt something genuinely uncomfortable. This was not normal teenage development. This was a prodigy arriving way too early. Back in 1761, crowds across Europe watched something just as unsettling. A 6-year-old kid named Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Honestly, the hardest name ever. I mean, that name alone is wild. But he was playing royal courts with a grip on music that made grown men question reality itself. Mozart just felt the music in his bones, the pacing, the harmony, the raw emotion. Stuff that takes lifetimes to learn just poured out of a kid who barely had the words to explain his own talent. That freakish talent made people squirm, shattering a core belief. The idea that true mastery is supposed to take time, that greatness is a grind earned through years of hard lessons. Mozart proved something wilder. Sometimes a generational talent drops in fully formed, way before we are ready to process it. And that is exactly what the sport is failing to process with Lamine Yamal right now. Soccer assumes greatness takes patience. Academy kids are supposed to grow slowly, grinding through the ranks. First they learn the fundamentals, then they bulk up. Only after hundreds of brutal matches do they get the mental edge needed to dominate games consistently. Teen stars are supposed to be flashy but messy. Managers hide them from real pressure, trusting that long-term experience builds the true foundation of a professional. That is why most guys peak in their late 20s, unless you are Luka Modric defying biology in your 40s. The sport already had a strict, rigid timeline for how legends are made. Then Lamine Yamal crashed the party. And the weirdest part is not his footwork. The pitch has seen teenage hype before. The scary part is how completely polished he already is. The icy nerves, the flawless timing. By 18, he was already carrying one of the biggest clubs on the entire planet. At 16 and 17, he moved with the swagger and quiet patience of a veteran who had survived 10 years in the top flight. Here's where the Mozart parallel slaps you in the face. In the 1700s, everyone thought musical brilliance demanded decades of brutal practice. Elite composers were meant to slowly sharpen their craft. Then this kid toured Europe and set that old rulebook on fire. Audiences were not just stunned by his flair, they panicked because his genius was already finished. Lifelong maestros stood there helpless, wondering how a toddler was pulling melodies out of thin air that they could never touch. That exact same eerie vibe haunts Yamal. The Academy textbook says a boy his age should still be making rookie mistakes. But watch his tape. He reads angles and spaces that seasoned pros are still trying to wrap their heads around. And that creates this weird aura. It is not just hype, it is pure confusion. Because every few decades, a Wonderkid steps up and shatters the biological clock. Early on, pundits treated Yamal like any other promising prospect. High ceiling, flashy footwork, a neat little future ahead. Everyone figured that maybe, in 5 or 6 years, he could evolve into a true global superstar. But the matches started defying logic. The turning point was that Euro 2024 clash with France. Spain is down, the stakes are insane, and the field is packed with heavyweights. Yet the coldest guy on the grass was barely 16. When Yamal collected that pass and curled it perfectly, Top Ben's jaws dropped. The finish itself was pure magic, sure, but the craziest detail was his choice to even shoot. Kids his age rush those chances. They overthink and choke. Hell, look at Garnacho, even older wingers panic. But Yamal just dictated the heartbeat of the game, and that exact vibe kept repeating. He silenced the crowd in El Clasico, styled on big Champions League nights, and commanded massive international tournaments. Instead of rushing on adrenaline, he forces the game into slow motion. Defenders fly at him, but he just waits. A half-second pause, a tempo shift, and then he leaves them eating dust. Seriously, watch that strike against Inter in the Champions League semis. That right there is his aura. Most rookies just lean on raw pace and blind luck. Yamal has weaponized his timing. He breaks defenders using pure rhythm, not just sprinting. Honestly, he conducts the pitch instead of chasing the ball. And this brings us right back to that haunting Mozart comparison. When young Mozart played, the elite crowd was not just dazzled by his fast fingers. They were genuinely spooked by the deep emotional maturity. Grown musicians with decades of theory under their belts could not fathom how a literal kid commanded harmony, pacing, and emotional tension so effortlessly. His games felt way too complete for a kid. And that's exactly how it feels watching Lamine Yamal play today. Because Yamal doesn't play like a kid figuring the sport out on the fly. He plays like a veteran who already feels the pulse of elite soccer in his bones. The pauses, the sudden bursts of speed, knowing exactly where defenders will shift before they even twitch. As he racks up more appearances, writing this off as just normal Wonderkid development gets completely impossible. The sport has always had teenage prodigies, especially at Barcelona. But usually, you spot the flaws. The panic passes, the bad days, the teenage emotions. With Yamal, rookie mistakes barely happen, nowhere near enough for a kid his age. That's exactly why the football world struggles to make sense of him. Because eventually, fans stop wondering about his future potential. Instead, they start asking a much weirder question. How on earth is this kid already a finished product? Every time a new star breaks out, the sport reacts exactly the same. Let's pump the brakes. We've seen this movie. He is good, but give it time. Just a one-season wonder. Early on, a lot of the talk around Lamine Yamal followed that exact same script. Pundits warned against the hype, claiming he's just another Ansu Fati or the Moroccan Halilovic. They pointed at former Wonderkids who vanished. They brought up the heavy pressure, mental burnout, bad injuries, and crazy expectations. And honestly, those fears made perfect sense. Soccer history is littered with teenagers who look totally invincible right up until reality hit them hard. But with Yamal, there's a totally different vibe. Because half the football world isn't just fighting the hype, they are fighting what that hype actually means. The harsh truth is that most guys spend 10 or 15 years chasing that exact level of icy composure and raw creativity. The elite decision-making Yamal already flashes as a teen. Grown men with hundreds of pro games under their belts still fail at things he does in his sleep. Mentally, that messes with people. Fans want player growth to make logical sense. Age should bring respect. Years on the pitch should equal raw quality. That slow grind keeps the sport feeling grounded. Then a kid like Yamal shows up, and the whole system suddenly looks completely broken. And believe it or not, that is exactly what happened when a young Mozart toured Europe. Grown adults literally could not wrap their heads around the kid. Some praised him, others wrote him off. A lot treated the boy like a circus act rather than accepting the sheer genius standing right there. Because true prodigies shatter the food chain. They force an awkward question on everyone watching. If a little kid does this naturally, what does that mean for the hard road everyone else spent 20 years walking? You feel that exact same tension around Lamine Yamal today. You hear it when pundits desperately try to explain his matches. Let's see if he keeps this up. Let's wait until he matures. The kid is just doing flashy tricks for TikTok. Those excuses give it all away. Fans are desperately hunting for reasons to make reality feel normal again. Because if the sport finally admits what Yamal can genuinely do right now, we have to tear up the rulebook on how players actually grow. That's why dropping big names around him feels so weird. Once guys like Messi and Neymar get compared to a teenager, fans instinctively get defensive, not because they hate the kid. It's just that dropping those massive legends feels almost offensive this early on. Mozart sparked that exact same panic centuries back. The pure genius showed up way before anyone was ready to handle it. The closer you study Yamal on the pitch, the harder it is to describe the kid using standard football terms. Most top-tier stars rely on pinpoint precision. They trace the tactical patterns. They run the system. Their runs are sharp, clinical, and calculated. Basically robots. Like watching Arsenal build an attack. Snooze fest. But Yamal brings a different aura. He plays with this wild, effortless freedom. The match just slows down when he has the ball, while everyone else panics. He improvises on the fly, breaking the attacking tempo right when defenders least expect it. Sometimes he freezes for a split second too long. Other times he fires the pass away before anybody even blinks. Or he fakes his entire body one direction, only to pull off a completely blind pass or filthy dribble. Just look at those outside-the-boot Travellas, yet somehow it all looks totally normal. That's what puts him miles ahead of other prospects. His flair never feels forced. He's not out there sweating to create a viral highlight with every single touch. The answers just appear. That's where those Mozart comparisons become absolutely perfect. Because what blew minds about the composer wasn't just his raw skill. It was how ridiculously easy all that art looked. He would invent massive melodies in royal courts, as if he was just breathing air. Huge musical pieces just poured out of him without breaking a sweat. For the crowds watching, it barely even looked like practice. It felt deeply internal. Yamal carries that exact same aura. Plenty of wingers can smoke a fullback. Maybe not Vinicius Jr. lately, but most attackers. Tons of guys can pull a brilliant trick out of the bag. But this kid bends the match rhythm like a conductor. He forces defenders to sprint, then kills the pace completely. He builds pure tension before snapping it with a killer pass or a lightning run. Honestly, just watching him dribble feels like a heartbeat. And the terrifying part is how totally relaxed he looks doing it. Kids his age usually freeze up when the lights get bright. You can practically watch them overthinking every touch. Yamal just looks like he loves the chaos of making it up as he goes. It is like total unpredictability is where he feels right at home. That right there is why his game feels like pure art, never mechanical. Take notes, Arsenal fans. The hidden passes, the violent shifts in tempo, the magic tricks inside a crowded box. That ice-cold composure when it matters most. It all just flows with a natural rhythm you absolutely cannot coach into a player. Both Mozart and Yamal make the impossible feel weirdly routine. That right there is the ultimate proof of genius. Not pulling off a miracle, but making that absolute miracle look like a warm-up drill. Football fans obsess over Wonderkids, at least early on. We crave the high of spotting a generational talent before the mainstream catches on. We eat up the highlight reels, living for that rush of watching history kick off live. Watching a teenager absolutely tear apart grown men feels like pure magic at first. But eventually that honeymoon phase ends. The hype cools down and the heavy expectations arrive. And those expectations stack up fast. That is the grim reality hanging over Lamine Yamal today. The football world already crowns him as the face of the sport. Millions expect a teenager to single-handedly win massive knockout matches. Barcelona fans desperately view him as their ultimate savior. Spain already brands him a national icon. The crushing weight hits years before adulthood even starts. And here is where those Mozart comparisons turn dark, way beyond just a neat analogy. Mozart shot to fame as a young boy. All of Europe worshipped him, paraded him around like some divine miracle. But that blind adoration hit a much darker trap. The second society spots a genius. It demands flawless perfection from them every single day. Just being good is completely off the table. They have to deliver mind-bending magic over and over, for decades. That shadow haunts young prodigies everywhere they step. Modern football pulls this exact trick constantly. Kids are turned into massive commercial properties before they even finish growing up. Entire fan bases pin their club's survival on a teenager. Every single touch gets brutally picked apart. One bad match sparks a full-blown crisis. A minor knock creates sheer panic. Eventually, the boy stops belonging to himself. His talent becomes global public property. That is exactly why watching a Wonderkid is so beautiful, yet deeply terrifying. Because the darkest truth about generational talent isn't just how early the magic starts. It is how violently the burden of that greatness hits them. And looking at Lamine Yamal, the football world is already wrestling with that anxiety. Nobody doubts his talent. The real fear is what happens when a billion fans drop the weight of the world onto a kid who is still just trying to grow up. That heavy tension stalks every genius. Mozart felt it, and so have 100 fallen stars since. We obsess over protecting their rare spark, while greedily demanding a bigger fire. But somehow, through all that suffocating noise, Yamal just smiles and plays. His freedom is untouched. His natural rhythm flows. The raw creativity feels totally alive, never like a chore. Honestly, that might be the most beautiful piece of this whole story. Right now, we get a front row seat to one of the rarest sights in sports, a pure footballing genius arriving long before the world has any clue how to handle him. If you like this breakdown, you will definitely love the next one. Click right here.